One. Yeah, good there. And your audio is good.
Audio, video.
Hello? Hello?
Outskirts of a soccer field, migrants from South America are living in tents and drying their clothes in the sun after washing them in the East River. Still others are gathered outside the Randall's Island shelter, claiming they have nowhere else to go because shelter stays are limited to just 30 days. Administration officials seem determined to keep Randall's Island from the outskirts of a soccer field, migrants from South
Yeah, Robert, you're an iPhone on Zoom, right?
So they have additional things.
My phone went out, I don't need direction.
What do you want me to do? I can't do it like,
Place.
just go straight. On 80. I'll do it when I can.
I don't know how it's.
Hear you, thank you. Cool. Alright, good evening, everyone. This is the regular business meeting of the Smithfield Township Board of Supervisors. Please join me in reciting the pledge of allegiance.
Well, I want to introduce the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, everyone. All three members of the board are present, myself, Chair Jacob Pride, Vice Chair Robert Levinheim is on Zoom, and Supervisor Michael Bear is here. Engineer John Tressler, Melissa Hutchinson is here, and Solicitor Ron Karasak. Township Manager Julie Heiligen, and Administrative Coordinator Diana Salvi. For sort of business announcements, we had a standing executive session this evening from 5:34 p.m. to approximately 6:07 p.m. regarding personnel and litigation. All of you made it here, so you know that the meeting schedule changed to the second and fourth Tuesday of each month. Our next is August 27th. I have two more, one's here and one's not, saving the date for the Smithfield Township's Trunk or Treat and Fall Fest, which is going to be on October 26th, 2024, from 1 to 4 p.m. here at the Municipal Center. You can talk to Diana, who is going to put up some forms and information on our website. So stay tuned for that. And lastly, we have another save the date. The Rivers Edge Bike Park Committee, which is a master site plan grant, is August 31st at is it 31st at 6 p.m. 28th, sorry, August 28th at 6 p.m. here. And there's gonna be more information on that as soon as we're ready, but we wanted to let you know, so you know well in advance. We have two sets of minutes, the June 26th regular meeting and the July 24th, 2024 regular meetings. Do I hear a motion on those?
All motion to approve the minutes.
Motion by Mr. Alfair, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Lowenheim, any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Bills and obligations we have from today, August 13th, 2024, total of $147,776.67, which includes general fund ratification. From the previous week, which is payroll. We have general fund today of $74,746.60. And keep in mind, it's inclusive in that 147 total, open fuels expenditures and escrow fund, which is reimbursements to ourselves. Do I hear a motion on the bills?
Motion to approve the.
Motion by Mr. Albert, do I hear a second? So they wrote,
A second for me. Sorry.
okay, Mr. Lovin, any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, reports, Kara, do you wanna talk about the resolution quick that we have on the consent agenda from last time?
If I may, yeah.
Yeah, that way,
Wonderful.
when you go to Sussex County,
And what?
used to go to Sussex County, right?
No, not Sussex County, but. It's helpful, always, Warren County,
Or,
I'm always going, but anyway, I'll also give an update at this time if I may. Minor, so. The resolution on the consent agenda is picking up where we left off at the last meeting. The points of action that are going on there, so therefore let it be resolved. Are you're continuing to support and encourage every possible action to safely open and maintain all lanes of I-80 and 611 corridor. And you know what, I may have, this may not be exactly word for word, but this is the gist. Because I might be working off a different copy. So yes, of course, we want fast 611 and 80 being open. You're supporting Milton and Harbor Township's request for consultation with CEQ and ACHP. Especially with, some faces, I'm not sure that have heard these letters, I'd like to mention what CEQ and ACHP are. CEQ is the Council for Environmental Quality. That is the, oversight agency right under the president that has oversight for all National Environmental Policy Act actions. So the environmental assessment,
Rosa, ahí preciosidad.
or in this case,
Ya no
we're
queda.
heading towards an environment, we can hear you. We're heading towards an environmental
Evita
impact
que se
statement.
cuerpo
Is that me?
Porque preparadas. Ahora,
I think I sound different than that. So anyway, CEQ is the oversight agency for the environmental reviews and the environmental laws. And the ACHP is the why am I not thinking, the Advisory Council on Historic Preservation. So that's the agency that's responsible for the laws and reviews associated with the historic properties. And both of these pile of laws are in play for everything coming up in the Delaware Water Gap. So again, you're supporting Knowlton and Hardwick's request for consultation with them, because we want to help expedite efficient integration of NEPA, the environmental laws, and section 106, the historic properties laws, to ensure the public input is considered, impacts are adequately addressed, and reasonable alternatives are considered expeditiously. We're hitting this because we want to get this to move quickly. We expect the full NEPA and environmental impact statement for any planned project. We are asking Federal Highways to agree to a new lead agency for these projects, and that is not going to be oversight from Federal Highway, not oversight from PennDOT, not oversight from NJDOT, and not oversight by the National Park Service for reasons I don't think I need to get into. I think everybody at this point would appreciate that if we had a different independent lead agency for the next processes, it would be helpful to all. We're also requesting that Federal Highway determine if the Delaware Water Gap is a national historic landmark, a national natural landmark. And we're asking for that to happen now so that it doesn't delay projects later when people realize that study should have been done early. And that's pretty much about it. And then we're thanking certain people for this and the other thing. So that is the resolution on hand. Are you moving to that resolution at this moment, or are you gonna just get to that later and I'm just speaking to it now?
You're speaking for now, we'll get to the
Okay.
consent agenda in a couple of minutes, just have a couple other presentations.
Yep, and then, the update is 611 is, gonna be under construction within the next week, to open 2 lanes for the most part. In 8 to 10 weeks, with, one spot will have a light at each end, and that's great news. And then the other thing I need to look you in the eye and, make sure everybody understands, things have gone very well related to the asks on this resolution. There's wheels have been in motion for quite some time. And the very well means that in coordination with Congressman Cartwright and Congressman King's office, we've been talking with Federal Highways, and they appreciate the need to look at every item that's on this ask. And they're setting up a meeting about that for the local officials.
Awesome.
You're each gonna get a request to participate to the extent that you're available. So, and last one is, PennDOT and the National Park Service are probably gonna be meeting, whether it's virtual or on site at the end of this week about getting 611 going. This is the first site visit or, construction meeting of many for the next several years in there. Upper Mount Bethel last night did say, Tara, go ahead and make the request to be present at any and all of these meetings, if at all possible, with, of course, that email would go to everybody. And any of you would be invited as well, but should not be available, I would be there. I want to know if you would like the same request. There would be an email coming in from Smithfield and Upper Mount Bethel requesting presence at any meeting possible.
I have no issue with that at all, and that's at the end of this week, you anticipate that?
Yes.
I definitely can't be there, so it'd be great if you could, I don't know, Michael, if you're there. whatever comes in.
Yeah, and I don't know if it'll be permitted, but I think it's right to set the precedent of asking for these
Well,
things.
as a liaison, you're an arm of all of us, so I would be shocked.
Okay.
Will that include work yet?
I don't know,
Mayor?
I'm not speaking, I don't know, I'm speaking on behalf of Upper Mount Bethel
Okay.
and,
All right.
Smithfield Township.
I'll find out, because I think he should be invited.
Yeah, that would be up to the other people involved. I mean, he's been, if I may, the mayor has been representing, well, Delaware Water Gap, just as Portland's been representing Portland.
Exactly.
So I'm making, I try very hard to stay in my lane for every reason.
Okay,
So that
I'll find out.
would, okay. Very good. Okay,
Thank you.
good night, everybody.
So you don't have to go to another meeting after this.
I don't, but would you like me to stick around if you have any questions? I'll take advantage of getting home for a change.
Yeah, no, you should do that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Talk soon. And now we will proceed with solicitor's report.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I have completed the injunction complaint dealing with the BX9 or back 9, and that will be filed later this week. I wanted to double check on an item regarding huge enforcement law, and also with respect to that anecdotal information that I received regarding a death at the track. So that is prepared and ready to go. I have also received a number of emails with respect to the Delaware Water Gap borough eminent domain for the water line repair for the individuals or residents in Smithfield Township that are involved. That resolution has been prepared, but is not yet ready for adoption, because I believe I had received information from someone that one of those individuals might, there were 3 individuals that were fighting about it. One of those individuals might agree and another individual might also. So if that's going to occur, then we only need to do a resolution for one person, if in fact that.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Because I did speak with one of the 3 individuals and they have agreed to sign and I think they got the document again today, but I also was under the impression we were gonna agree to move forward with whoever is left. Do you need it to actually be specific about the 3 individuals, or if they make progress on the next one?
Well, we can do all 3 and just say that in the event any or all of the 3 agree to proceed without eminent domain, that we can do it that way, that's fine.
Okay, we're getting to that later, but that's how I would like to.
Yeah, that's fine, you can say that all 3 are there, so you're protected, and if they agree, then fine. Or if not, then at least you're protected with that resolution.
Okay, thank you.
All right, also yesterday, there was a hearing with respect to Mr. Ellis and his use of various vehicles and business vehicles, et cetera, on his property. That hearing was held before the magisterial district judge downstairs. And the township was able to prevail on that case and receive a decision in its favor. I don't know if Mr. Ellis will appeal that. My guess is he probably would. If he would agree to that decision, then he has basically established the fact that he might, I'll put that in quotes, be in violation, and that could always come back to bite him. So we'll see whether or not he appeals that. And I believe that I also attended this past last week, I believe, on August 8th, the Smithfield Planning Commission file or meeting, and on the agenda is the Chiquitas state to revise the plan to be further discussed. And other than that, I think that at least takes care of the main highlights for the month. Also Blue Ridge is another item I forgot, where If Blue Ridge is not willing to reimburse the township, which we believe they should, then I would ask that the board authorize me to prepare a demand letter to request payment. And then, of course, if payment is not made, further discussion will then need to be had as to whether or not the township wants to file suit in that regard. But it's a significant amount of money, so I believe we should address it.
Alright, so
Can we do that now or?
would it be appropriate to vote on that under the solicitor's report, or should we ratify it after filing?
I think what you should do is do what you just said, either ratify it after filing. Because I'm concerned that an argument could be later made, well, it wasn't on the agenda. And you voted on something that's not on the agenda, so the vote should be void and we get into one of those deals.
Alright, well, we'll have you draft that up and then
Yeah.
vote on it at 27th.
Or again, they haven't paid in a year, so even waiting until the next meeting to say, okay, is
It'll
really
be on,
not that much of a.
it'll be on either way, just a minute, you know, depends on the conversation that you'll have with them. Anyway,
Excuse me, Jacob, can Ron clarify, is that Blue Ridge Computer Company?
yes,
Yeah, they owe the township $110,000 because they never
What is
paid
that for?
for giving them the right to put cable in the township.
Effectively, there's a cable tax.
Yeah.
And they haven't been collecting it for the last year, and they said they thought that, I think what we thought maybe was this, they saw that Smithfield stopped collecting it. But we never did, and so they screwed up. And so people that have been getting their Blue Ridge cable have had a discount over the last year.
Yeah.
But that is a part of our budget, and it's $110,000 that, this township never indicated that. We were stopping that, there was never an agreement to do so, and they made a mistake unilaterally.
yeah, they told us, they're like, no, you did this, and we sent some emails and, you know, explained, no. Show them our budget meetings. Where we specifically said we weren't doing that, so.
And they didn't bill all the individual people?
Correct.
So I think I remember used to seeing a Smithfield Township.
It's actually still there, but it's zero.
Right,
Oh, a lot.
yeah, so,
$200.
so we hope that gets resolved shortly. As it's obviously important for what we do. Okay. Next,
So they collected from the residents,
They did not collect.
but they used to collect a tax.
Yeah.
From the residents.
Yeah.
that is how they do it.
Did you
yes.
see it on the bill?
I don't get Blue Ridge, so.
Yeah.
It's a federal law,
Yeah, so
cable tax.
federal authorization,
So. It's just
Correct.
collected through Blue Ridge.
Correct.
Interesting.
So Blue Ridge error and our benefit, but not for the township. Got it.
well, the hope is that they'll resolve it with us amicably. I mean,
How do those things even come about?
What?
Like, how
Like
does,
the
how does
agreement.
Blue Ridge
Uh,
get the authority to tax
The
the
federal government gave
residents
it to
on
them.
behalf of the township?
yeah, so, I mean, it's the same as like, for example, people think they pay a Berkheimer tax, but that is their earned income tax. It just happens to be collected by a company that does it. It is essentially the same type of authorization, but what happens is. In places, especially places that don't have monopolies like we have here with, you know, Blue Ridge. Those rights of way in other places are occupied by other companies too, and they all have to pay some fee because they have the right of way around. You know, power lines where their line runs, because basically in order to run somewhere else, you need the permission of that municipality.
Interesting.
First screen was from like 1970s.
I wanna say 1978. Yeah, so it's interesting. Of course, though, should be noted, it's not charged for folks with just basic cable. It's only on elevated packages above that. Like I think depending on the municipality, you're gonna get a different story. Because the demographics change based on, you know, where you're at, age, income, all that stuff.
And interestingly, legally, it's not on internet, it's only on.
Okay,
And it cannot, federal law says it cannot be applied to the internet. And actually, it's one of those taxes that's been dramatically decreasing. Was all that, most of that going to fire and EMS?
Right, before the tax, yeah. So, we would. It taxed it us, we would tax it them, and then with the tax, we had to change the structure. But in order to avoid, changes in the budget, we would not, increase the millage to compensate for that. So we want to keep that rate, because it's authorized until 2028. At this point, so they're typically eight to 10 year renewals. So even in the places that, like Middle Smithfield no longer has the tax, they still have the agreement valid, otherwise there would be no right to have internet. Or not internet, sorry, cable.
Easements.
Yeah. Cool. Alright. So next, engineers report.
Hey, thank you, Jacob. Been working on several things this past month. Wellness Park, those plans are complete. They will be submitted this week to the Conservation District for the MPDES application. You already announced that we're getting ready to do the kickoff meeting for the master plan for the bike park. That'll be this the end of this month. Airstrip Road, the developer is getting ready to turn that over, dedicated to the township. We're in the process of finalizing the survey. Field work has been done. We're preparing the plan right now. Green Mountain Drive Bridge. We've got the right-of-way agreements in process, and we're now focusing on the structural repairs and that project. And we've had several miscellaneous reviews that we've gotten correspondence on. So that's pretty much what we've been up to the past month.
Awesome. Anyone? Great.
Good question. About the Green Mountain Road, you said you got the easements
I said they're in process. We've got them in the process.
in process.
Yes.
And that's just the people that border right by the bridge that you're trying to get the easements from?
Yes, people who own the property surrounding the bridges. That's the only place.
And then do you have any kind of like design or anything of what the bridge is going to be?
It's gonna remain the same, they're only repairing it in kind.
Right.
Somebody asked me to ask, that's why I asked.
That works. Christine?
John, are any of your miscellaneous reviews involved with Healthy Minds conditional use application?
No,
You have one more question, I'm sorry. When he said about the airstrip road dedicated to the township, and then what's the township gonna do with that property? How much property is it?
It's just the road.
Gonna become a township road, it's not.
Oh,
it's not a road. The road leads to fire, right?
yes,
And it's a private road now,
yes,
and the township's gonna take it over?
Yes.
yes.
Is it all built to township specs?
100%.
That's what he's doing, that's what he's been doing, is making sure it is.
It was designed to township specs. We inspected it as it was being constructed, and we're now doing a final as-built
Where does
survey.
that road go to?
Airport road. Dead ends, right?
Right,
Yeah,
Okay,
Which side?
it goes to Vigon, so where the old airport was, but at the end, there's like the roundabout, there's Vigon. And then there's the other businesses going up to it.
This board has on multiple occasions highlighted that we're very much in favor of not having private roads and we prefer to have township roads. So it's in keeping with what we want to do. Because well, almost all the problems that I've seen standing here, are all about private roads.
We're going to get funding for that because of the PennDOT.
When we have, when the township, when the township has a private, has a
to maintain.
public road, you get some funds from liquid fuels to the taxes you pay, you come to the township. Is that right?
Yeah.
Where it comes from?
Yes, but isn't there also an 18-month maintenance period on
Yes.
that road?
yes,
So if there's something seriously wrong in the next 18 months, we can
right.
manage that.
And I just have one other question, kind of like. Yeah, Ron or John, in their last month or whatever of meetings, has any of them been like with Ted Hunter at all regarding the PRD?
I just had a conversation with Ted this afternoon.
Oh.
And based on that conversation, I think he is getting. He's trying to get his ducks in a row to file his his section of his PRD plan.
Section. That one that he came before the
Yes,
planning commission, that one little road up there, off the
Yes.
Shawnee Valley Road,
yes.
and that's the road they're gonna use?
I can't remember all the particulars.
Well, they don't have any other access to Hollow Road other than Shawnee Valley Road at this point.
I believe that is correct. Again, I haven't looked at that plan in 6 months. It was a phone conversation. He just wanted to know the procedure for reporting it.
For recording. So did the planning commission recommend everything move forward?
This plan was approved back in 2005. He's going with the 2005 plan,
For that one little road?
or whatever the two for the one.
For the stage 1B, whatever.
First phase.
Actually, what cost the planning commission was a sketch plan for a change, and I will just remind the board, as the township is aware, we're all parties to the settlement and all parties must agree to any changes. It is true, according to the courts, he has approval for 2005, but a sketch plan he brought before the planning commission entails some changes.
Correct.
So he would need that to be approved by all parties and be approved by the Monroe County Court of Common Pleas.
That is correct. However, all his conversations with me in the past several months have been, he is going with the 2005 plan.
Yeah, I'm just saying, when I was at the planning commission meeting, you brought a sketch plan that entailed a change.
He just wanted to know your thoughts. That's, I think, were his words.
Yeah.
Wasn't like they voted on it,
No,
approval. of
Sketch plans don't get approval. for this.
No.
So it's really mostly to get a letter from John, oftentimes that we can actually get a meeting at the planning commission.
But he's trying to submit something before the supervisors? Or the planning?
no, just trying to get his approval, I don't know.
He's gonna report his plan. He has all his approvals. His next step prior to construction is to sign a developer's agreement and report his plans. He's got all the necessary approvals.
And the road permit? No. He has no access to Hollow Road, he's got to use Shawnee Valley Road.
Well, if that's what he has to use, again, I'm not gonna speak to the plan because I don't have it in front of me. He's gonna use what he has approval to use. I can't tell you what that is.
But he still has to go through a process before he can start doing anything.
The process that he must go through at this point is sign a developer's agreement. Post security to guarantee the site improvements. And record the plans. In the courthouse.
Yeah, I believe that those site improvements include some road improvements that he would be required to do.
In 05, the plan had a
Correct.
lot of road
Correct.
improvements, there's a lot in the 05 plan that needs to
Correct.
be addressed.
So we'll have to make sure that when he files that they are in keeping with the 2005 plan.
And so that one section is not changed from the 2005.
I don't think that's in phase one, is it?
Disgusting.
I don't know what it is, but I don't know, I can't remember.
Yeah, I think what he was supposed to.
Yeah, I mean, we're 20 years ago, was anybody here that would remember? Me. Me and Martha. So you guys have got to think about us as the residents.
This is not our decisions, the judge
Okay,
decision.
then put it
I don't know how
down.
many times I have to say that. I can't go against what the judge has
Okay,
said.
well, we'll see what the judge says, that's a good idea, that's good.
He did say.
He did say, he said
Okay,
he moved
but-
forward with it.
Martha just said that it has to be approved by all parties.
I changed, we're not, no one has approved any change.
He is recording exactly what was approved in 2005 in that section.
He can't record anything else, that's what I just said.
Okay, 1B, the whole 1B section, is that what gets recorded? I'm sorry. Or
Whatever section he.
he
is
just had the
supposed to
one
start.
little road before the planning commission.
Just forget about what was presented in the planning commission, because that requires an approval, that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, there's no change in this, because if there was a change, the process essentially on that part requires restarting.
That was required, as you said, a restart. There would have been a long approval process.
For 1B.
If he wants to change it.
if he wants to change it. If
Like
he
what
wanted
he
to
did.
propose, if he wanted
Any part.
to do what he showed the planning commission on that sketch plan. If he wanted to do that, that would require going through the entire approval process before the planning commission and this board.
And you, and your parties.
And he decided that he was not going to do that.
Supervisors' comments, I just wanted to note one thing, I don't know if anyone here knew Bob Widener, but he passed away. And he did a lot in the community. And as I posted online, you could either see the guy at the Cure where they hung his awesome photography, one of which was the bridge over the Broadhead Creek at Minnesota Park. And he was the only other dude I ever saw walking back along the trail at Smithfield Gateway, because he lived right by. So I just want to say that I think he was 85 and he definitely never really retired, because even when I was at ESU, he was taking pictures of everything. He did a lot for the area. Robert, Michael, anything you guys want?
I have a question back to,
Hold on, I'm gonna ask them if they have any comments on that, the distance between the deceased gentlemen. Anything,
I don't have anything specific.
Robert?
Might be starting with it.
Go ahead.
question and comment. First question is Airport Road. Will that road be used to access the parcel that the zoning change
No.
has? It's not a part of that, it's not,
It's on the other side of the road,
it's on the other side, okay.
right?
Air Strip Road is the one that is directly,
Yeah, I'm sorry, I thought this was a question. This new airstrip road,
The
Is on the other
road
side
that,
of
the
the road
road that
from-
the township is going to take over, is that the road that
On the other side.
accesses this new, the parcel that has been rezoned?
no.
No.
It's on the other side.
They-
Air Strip Road is being taken over by.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay. And,
Side is all right there.
right, okay,
they would need another permit with land development to access anything from there.
and then my other comment is that on behalf of the residents here. A lot of stuff that you guys talk about is, outside of our wheelhouse. Things get drug on and, you know, we hear fragments of updates on various projects. And because we're all here living our lives trying to survive, it's pretty hard for us to keep up. So when people come and ask questions and we're met with a pissy attitude
Excuse me?
and it's offensive to me and probably to other people. We're here trying to participate in our community. And I would hope that we are treated with respect and patience in explaining what all's happening behind the scenes. That's my comment.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay. Missy, your fun part, MS4,
Yes, sir.
do you have that all set up? Yeah.
One side of the. That's fine. That's involved in the, you know, I see what I'm saying, taking calls. I'll wait for a minute.
NS4, what about state for NS4?
Municipal separate storm sewer system.
I'll explain that. Okay, so it's storm sewers.
Can I do that, Julian? On this, trick or trunk thing here, it says we would assist in providing hot dogs, chips, other refreshments. I just give them money, they can go buy them, right? That works. I don't have to go actually buy.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the second. We have that.
Buying candy Dave and Dunkin', so they cut down on the market.
Yes.
Thanks.
Right, so this is a presentation about the township's MS4 program. And the MS4 is a collection of storm sewer structures, including basins, ditches, inlets, and pipings that are designed to collect and discharge stormwater into streams without prior treatment. In 2016, the township applied for a permit. You changed the slide. Sorry, thank you. The township applied for a permit through the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection. Due to the existing high quality streams such as the Broadhead and McMichael's Creek. And also the population density. The existing permit for the township expired in November of 2023. And the township applied for a permit renewal to DEP in March of 2023. That application is still under review. Okay.
Yeah, it's sort of like that.
Under the MS4 permit, the township is required to meet 6 minimum control measures. Their public education and outreach, public participation and involvement, illicit discharge detection and elimination, construction site stormwater runoff controls, post-construction runoff controls, and pollution prevention and good housekeeping for your municipal facilities. Tonight, I'm going to focus on the public education and outreach. Yep, so the public education outreach, there's 3 BMPs or four BMPs or best management practices. The first one is to develop, implement, and maintain a written public education outreach program, which lists the communication channels, the target audience, and distribution methods. And the township has that program, and we review it and update it every year as needed. Best management practice number 2 is to develop and maintain your list of target audiences, which include homeowners associations, commercial uses, industrial uses, educational uses, places of worship, anybody that has a property and uses it within the township. Then the next slide, best management practice number 3 includes annually publish at least 1 educational item on your stormwater management program. And best management number 4 is to distribute stormwater educational materials to the target audiences. So the township has their website set up. There's a very nice link to the MS4 program, and there's many documents that can be reviewed. So the township's target audience can look at those at any time. So the township is currently in year 1 of the 2023 permit. And during that year, they continued their programs for each minimum control measure. They continue to provide a list of newly constructed and or proposed best management practices. And any basins or rain gardens, infiltration basins, things like that. They have continued to provide a list of pollutant control measures, including the sources of pathogens. And we have provided a draft copy of the Good Housekeeping Operation Maintenance Manual to the township for their review and any comment they have. And looking forward into the next permit term, year 2, again, we'll continue the minimum control measure programs, providing a list of newly constructed and or proposed BMPs, Continue to provide a list of pollutant control measures. Continue to review and revise the draft MS4 O&M program. Commence the planning of best management practices to reduce the sediment load within the MS4, and will conduct illicit discharge screenings, which are required 2 times per permit period. And that's it. If there's any questions?
Well, just so I'm clear, this program, which is extremely expensive, for the township, and I'm not saying that in a bad way, I'm saying that sincerely, is meant to try to discharge as clear water as possible, correct? It's
That's
not
correct.
dealing with quantity of discharge, where it's being discharged, whatever. This program is meant to discharge very clear water, or as clear as you can get water.
Right, they're focused on the quality of water.
Who pays for it? Do we do pay for
You pay for this.
it? And that's under. Yes, your engineering firm does this?
Yeah.
Well, there's a distinction, it's not like, no one's, you know, in the creek, you know, taking out sediment at the moment, but we do have to do that, and so we partner with. Commercial entities and people that own property along the impacted water. And then, you know, this type of thing is made to our Department of Public Works, so we're not causing that, and then it's like checking the silt socks at construction sites and.
A lot of the work that we do is already part of your construction observation that we do.
Oh, okay.
You know,
When you're
maybe
doing
some
assessments.
additional work would be the new BMP that needs to be built to reduce your sediment load within the township, and that hasn't been decided yet. You know, we would provide a report or findings prior to doing anything with that.
Like, there's no MS4 line item, it's like in the escrow of these.
It's in the escrow with our engineering firm. Okay, that's what I was, because I don't remember seeing
We
it.
do have to
before.
do part of our own, as she said.
And you should know the other municipalities that I represent are all. Not upset, but they're all concerned that they have to do this. This is a
Yeah,
requirement, and it's costly and it's time consuming, but. That's the way our government has decided that this needs to be done, so. That's the way it goes.
Is there any? I'm not this question. Are there any interaction with our newly reformed environmental, what do we call it? Environmental Advisory Board?
I know I
It's a
speak,
good place for it.
right, I speak to Alex about the program, and I would hope, or I believe he may pass information along.
Yeah, it might be nice to have you come in and talk to that group specifically on this as
If the
well.
supervisors want.
Yeah,
That sounds like fun.
they're always looking to learn
What
more.
do you think, Brad? Fun?
Like you said.
Yeah.
One thing I can point out that the township did. The township was, some of the things that you can do in the MS4 program to. Improve the water quality is do what they call repairing buffer work. Things of that nature. When Trapasso brought in his land development plan for storage units.
Yeah.
Because we forwarded it, yeah, but the township discussed with him the possibility of getting, repairing and plantings down in that area. And he agreed to it. So this was all being driven by the MS4 program.
Okay.
So. Had he not agreed, that would have been an expense that at some point in time, the township might have had to assume themselves, but he agreed as part of the approval process that he would contribute to that by planting in that corridor, so. That's how this program can also be utilized.
I was thinking now that the hotel is done,
Maybe.
any updates, Nick?
Updates.
No, sorry. It's all good. Cool, anyone else have any questions? Cool.
Okay, thank you.
Very much.
Have a good night.
Good to see you. Awesome. And this will, of course, be on our MS4 page, after it's, on YouTube, we'll attach the PDF as well. We have no old business. We do have a consent agenda, which includes resolution 563, which is the I statement 611 updates that we talked about previously, from Karen Mizanati. Adopt resolution 564, and update the fee schedule. That includes the addition of Rivers Edge Park to the $5 per hour county folks admission fee. And we've already begun enforcement there. And then the consideration to ratify the hiring of Jeremy Packey to the Department of Public Works for collective bargaining agreement with Team 6773. Do I hear a motion?
I motion to approve the consent agenda.
Do I hear a second?
Robert, C is.
He's trying to unmute.
You're up.
Yeah, I'll second. Okay, I'll second myself. Hopefully, Robert, you can click to ask on you. So, all in favor?
Well, hold on, I got a comment.
Oh, comment, sorry.
Yeah, just because you mentioned for the fee schedule, the other thing that's in there, in addition to charging for Rivers Edge. In case anyone's looked at these things, the building fees are now in here. Before there was just a reference to a separate document, which, right, you're correct, Julia?
Yes.
So now we actually all the building fees, which are actually a lot of different fees there. Are now part of this document as opposed to being linked to a separate document. It wasn't per se getting approved, so. Make sure everyone's aware of that.
Yep.
Will change.
Anything else? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Robert? Well, I'm gonna say 2-0 for now, but if he's able to unmute, we'll ask for his votes then. Next, the designation of noise control officers. We wanted this, have a brief discussion with regard to the noise ordinance, but also the certification process. We've done a lot of research and, we're presently finishing up the SOP for enforcement, just to perfect it a little bit, which includes the information that the noise control officers would need to enforce the ordinance, which is the course on, or the webinar on the actual measurement, the utilization of the device. We already have the device. I think Robert's actually going out with it this weekend, it's my understanding, so. He's on mute right now, but he called us. So I just wanted to state that, and per ordinance, the code enforcement officer can already enforce it without designation, so. Go ahead.
All right, I have some questions with this.
Sure.
So Robert has been on vacation. And I didn't know who to contact. He said he wasn't there. That he was talking to Michael, doing it possibly. So he's on vacation. I called Julia Friday and I said, it's been raining, but I'm sure they're gonna be able to move Sunday. Who do I contact? She told me to contact Robert, even though he's on vacation, because you don't have a number of. Who do we contact?
I mean, technically. The zoning officer is also our code enforcement officer.
But he's not there on weekends.
I understand. He's the one that is responsible for enforcing. What we're doing here is we're designating people for noise. We're also going to, once the light is done, is it done already? No. Almost. Light ordinance is done, that person will also be trained in using the light meter that we have. And the idea is that those people can go to Ken on Monday morning after going out on the weekend, and say, here's the data and the report that it prints out to indicate that there's an infraction, and Ken, who has that legal responsibility, can issue the.
But who's gonna do the meter?
Those noise control officers, so we talked about that legally, and we believe that it can be anyone, including. Supervisors, because the supervisors are not the one that are actually issuing the enforcement.
But
Right,
it
it's
has to be
assistant.
somebody employed in the township.
Right, and
Employed and certified, and you also realize that for certification, it can be basically a simple webinar, and then they have to be able to pass the test around the standard operating procedure site.
so at this point, we're most definitely gonna designate Robert, but also, like we're working on with the parks, with the legal side of things. constables are able to enforce ordinances if designated. We just have to be on sound legal ground with liability to ensure that, because they presently are doing a fine job with parks, but they will actually be able to issue citations themselves instead of having to go all the way around, so that enables us more flexibility. So we're hoping by our next meeting that we'll have that settled as well.
So they're open tomorrow and I just suck it up again, right?
Open tomorrow,
I don't have anybody call.
open tomorrow. Robert's supposed to be back.
On Friday.
I mean-
Robert said he'll be back on Friday.
Friday. Call him. He's supposed to be here answering the phone
And
during
he
business
will
hours.
come out then, he's like certified.
He will be 100%. I mean, he is right now, he's
He doesn't need to be certified.
correct,
Because he's the zoning officer.
Okay, I will call him then,
yes.
because the main
And if you don't
thing,
get a response that, call me, I'll send you my. cell
well,
phone.
I don't really have your number, but
I'll send-
our
I'm
main
gonna
thing is
send it to
on
you.
weekends. That is the main thing, it's
Right.
always, you know, of course they ran today too.
Yeah.
But I'm like, can't do anything, can't call anybody, you know,
I got a question, Ron, once the injunction is filed, which is gonna be by the end of this week. Is there a? Is there a process by which that has to?
The court will then
Oh, we need to
schedule,
schedule a time.
the court will schedule a hearing to determine whether or not a preliminary injunction should issue. And if a preliminary injunction issues, then the court will schedule a later hearing to determine if that preliminary injunction can be permanent. So you'll file papers, but it's not like turn flip
And
a
the
switch.
basis for a
Judge will
preliminary,
schedule a hearing in course probably in the next couple or so weeks.
well, with a preliminary petition. Is that granted, now, I don't, not well versed in this obviously, but is that granted on the basis that a permanent one would be likely to be successful?
You have to have various facts. You have to show that your facts are supported by the evidence.
Right.
So at that preliminary injunction, people will have to testify. We just can't go there and say, we're the township, we want an injunction, there has to be people to testify.
so it would be better if we didn't get the sound thing, somebody out there to do the sound, because
Well, it's
that
not
will go
really-
into
The
the.
injunction is not related to the sound, though, the injunction is related to operating business
Yeah.
illegally. And
Purely
a couple other
the
things
sound.
that are going in there, like safety.
Actually, that is, because it's safety, the sound. It is, you know, it's above the thing, it is safety reason, don't you think?
Yes, I will be able to open the record, I mean, once the process is started. We're gonna have that opportunity to continue with that, because as with anything, cases can build. But it's purely based on the
In
preliminary
the
aspect.
injunction paperwork, because I have it here in front of me, because we had to have it, get it signed. Was that the noise, odors, fumes, dust, and related activities have destroyed the neighbor's peace and quiet enjoyment of their residential property. There have been complaints with respect to noise and traffic. And the inspection by the township zoning officer confirmed those complaints, et cetera. So we are using the township zoning ordinance as the basis for the injunction. I am not using the noise ordinance as the basis because I just don't have enough information with respect
I
to
haven't been cited for that.
right.
May I ask you a question then? I know at one point you said you were waiting for a report from the sewer enforcement officer as
Yes.
far as, is that put in there?
I don't know, because he's not, he hasn't given me enough information. He's saying that they are not getting, there's no temporary or porta-john facilities at the site. He is telling me that the people that are there need to, hold on for a
Go to
second,
the clubhouse, so.
need to go to the clubhouse to use the restroom. And this clubhouse is on a separate parcel from the motocross track. In conclusion, there's no restrooms for visitors to use at the back 9 motocross track. Okay, so is it a violation? And he doesn't tell me that, you know, do they need a permit? He's not telling me that, so. I would like to go back to him maybe one more time and just say, is there a violation? Because then we can also throw that in the action that he's in violation of the PA sewage facilities act.
Yeah, but
Right now, I don't
Well, the
have.
challenge there, Ron, is that it's not subdivided, so technically the clubhouse. These are, what they were presenting to the
I would
zoning
like-
board,
Yeah.
is that it's the same facility.
I mean, obviously, as the lawyer representing the township, I'd like to whack them any way I can, but I need to have our support, because if I go to court and say that they need a permit, and the sewage officer says, who me, I have a permit.
But we just basically said, don't wait for that and file by the.
Yeah, exactly, that's what you basically instructed that.
One more question.
Yeah, get it fine.
Help yourself,
So
get a
say
copy
you
of
find
the
it,
police.
are they're able, then we have to wait if they appeal again?
They may appeal, I haven't heard anything about an appeal, but it doesn't mean that I'll hear anything, the township should probably get a copy of that, however, that decision came down. Maybe 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, the written decision from the zoning board.
Well, the 14th, they have till the 14th to
Okay.
make the decision of the zoning board, but I'm talking about the injunction.
They have an opportunity to object, but there's no
I'll
like,
have a chance.
they
to
can
come
appeal
in.
after that, but
Yeah, they'll come in
Yeah,
and.
appeal to it, but then do you have to wait again another so many days? They can
So
still.
judge will schedule a hearing and say that before that hearing, you, Mr. Motocross Track, has these many days to file an answer. So that's normally how it will go.
the point of the temporary, I got you. The point of the preliminary injunction is the hope is eventually you pursue a permanent one, but that there's at least temporary relief, and we're asking for that extraordinary relief on the basis of that it's been so awful. You know, and then.
Okay, well,
for the litany of
thank you for
reasons.
that, and I feel like we're getting a step closer, so I wanna thank you for putting this in, really.
I'll be refreshing C-Track 100 times tomorrow to see if they file an appeal and of course.
Now, if they don't appeal, do you need to do the injunction? Yes, because the injunction, then the injunction is
Well,
before.
no, if they don't appeal, well, if they don't appeal, then they are have agreed to the violation, you then file. Citations down with the local district judge and start that, fine.
Then you start that process.
You start that process. I can't see them not appealing it.
I've got a day.
I would be shocked.
One day.
Okay, one day is still one day. I
Last day.
filed
Yeah,
many things on the last day.
I usually do.
Yeah, they already informed me that they are appealing, they already said,
Well,
not in a nice way, but.
sure,
You know
well,
what I'm
that would be,
saying?
that would be out of character if they didn't.
Good.
But yeah.
Would it be of help for the injunction if I had a large amount of proof that they used my address illegally for a long period of time?
Whoa.
That's interesting,
That's interesting, but I don't know how that gets you home without
probably not in
noise,
that,
odors, fumes, smoke, etc.
but I mean, definitely. We'll have you two, we'll have, well, we have Smiles decided, but we'll have you two connect because that could theoretically. I mean, you've witnessed it, you live right there, so.
Yep.
But that goes to impeachment, you know, character. So. We'll
Now, also understand if they appeal the decision
right,
of the zoning board, it's not an automatic stay. Right. They have to come in, file a petition requesting a stay.
right,
And I believe the township can request a bond be posted. I'm not quite sure how the court will fashion and determine the amount of that bond, but keep that in mind. It's not an automatic stay.
yeah, on the basis that it's frivolous, right?
Or on the basis that the township is being injured in some fashion, if
We can
they
file a
appeal or
motion to
lose.
quash, we can file a motion to quash that appeal.
Well, we would have a right to go in and fight the stay, just like we did with water gap.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were there to fight the stay on water gap.
So my last question on this, before we designate Robert, as we did in resolution 562, which was the parks fees and the delegated enforcement on that, in that resolution, we designated that the township manager is able to direct others as needed to enforce, just like they can hire other employees as needed. Can I include a provision in the motion designating Robert the same thing that or anyone else has designated by the township manager? Like in the event that we sign that agreement with the
The
constable,
yeah, the township second class code says that supervisors can be appointed to positions
Right.
within the township. Of course, then it says unless otherwise it's specified.
Right.
You know, you can't find, that's all.
I know we're, right, I know we're good on that, but I mean, can I include as designated by the township manager as well?
I don't think you can do that.
Okay.
But not changing the ordinance.
No, this just allows her to say, okay, constable, you're signed up now, you can do this, and then we can be a little more flexible.
I think you might want to have a formal resolution adopted to allow her to do that. So rather than just have a motion made, you can make a motion, which you should, but then maybe just a brief little 2-page resolution, saying you give the authority to do that.
Alright, so the next meeting we'll do that, but I'm gonna include that in this motion in the event that we can get it sooner. Okay. Yeah, you're first.
The decibel meters they're stored in this building,
Yes,
so the noise control officers will always have access to this building?
yes.
Okay,
They have to be in place.
okay.
Don't
Just wanted to make sure, because as you saying, a lot of her issues are on the weekend. Correct.
Yeah.
When nobody's available. As long as they have access to the building to get to decibel meters, okay,
Yeah, they do, they're also the same folks that gate up to the parks at night.
okay.
You see,
I just want to clarify something, that, I don't know if it was the last meeting or the meeting before, Robert had mentioned that. I thought he said that Ron had told him that supervisors could not be designated as noise control officers. Didn't Robert say that?
I mentioned something about,
And now Ron just said he was, so I just want to clarify that.
I actually mentioned it, and I said I wasn't sure, I wanted to talk to Ron, which we did in our executive session just now.
Got it.
Because there's generally a separation of power, that's what I said at the beginning, was that Ken is still the one that must issue the enforcement. So these officers are not issuing any enforcement, they're just certified to collect the data. So that there's some semblance of, we believe this data that we're being given, that he's being given is quality and objective, so it'll hold up in court. Because we fully expect these sorts of things to go forward. Back to court.
and the reason I talk about moving a little bit in haste is because. While we have a couple of very clear big issues, there are obviously other potential violations in other parts of the township too, so. We wanna make sure that it's going to work in all those places. Joe?
You were saying this person is gonna be an employee of the township then? And then you got this new guy, Jeremy, coming to Public Works, would that be something that maybe Public Works, that would be the noise?
No, Public Works, you need, according to the collective bargaining agreement, when you call someone out on emergency work like that, you need 2 people, so we're not gonna send 2 people at $40 an hour.
They're unionized.
So what we're going to do is utilize, what's that?
Who is this guy then? What's he gonna do for us?
He works in the Department of Public Works. Jeremy previously worked here. In that department and then did a semi-longest stint elsewhere and now is back here.
Okay, so he's another employee of the township now?
A union employee, what,
A union employee.
he's part of Public Works, he's the road crew.
Right, and then last meeting you had this Chris Claus as alternate delegate to Oak Grove.
Chris is the road.
He's the director of
He's the
Public
guy
Works.
now.
He's the
He's
road.
already an employee. Is that any, well, okay, I guess he wouldn't have anything to, I was just thinking if you have existing people, and here you just got 2 people. That could help.
So, and more than one person can be designated. We can designate many people, but what Jake was saying is it doesn't make sense financially to designate our road crew. If they're too expensive to come out on weekends.
Okay.
Because it's not just one person, you need at a minimum 2.
And you need 2 people.
When it's a call out like that. Cause it's never gonna be during,
It's probably minimum 3 hours, right?
Yes.
Calling.
probably because we
Yeah.
want a 30-minute sample, get to 2 hour.
Alex could be appointed. Julia could be appointed.
And the thought here is the folks that, the thought here is that, the individuals that we're already working with in our parks are gonna be able to have that same flexibility and also an existing degree of professionalism in, the law enforcement realm. So if they're able to do this as well, we'll be in good shape.
So do we have a staff of parks people, Jim?
We have one,
One half-time staff or part-time,
right,
and we've been using their cost.
correct. And that's.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to designate Robert Lovenheim and others as designated by the township manager. Do I hear a second?
I will second that.
Motion by myself, second. by Mr.
Second.
Robert.
Okay, I'll second it. If I can I second myself?
You're muted, that's good, okay. Any questions? All in favor? Aye. And Robert, just I assume you voted yes on the consent agenda unless you say otherwise when you were muted? No.
Robert, did you vote yes on the consent agenda? You were muted at the time.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? I can't hear you.
Did you vote yes when we did the consent agenda?
Yes, you said yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes, you
said
yes.
Yes, then this one, yes, I did. I'm on a Interstate 90 near Chicago. It's hard to hear.
That's right. That was the 611, that was the 611 resolution, the fee schedule and hiring Jeremy. Okay.
All right, next, item C, consideration to approve special event permit for shooting star fireworks. This is for a gentleman, I guess the applicant name is Nick Crowith. And this is for an event at Shawnee scheduled for.
I don't know who this person is or anything about this, but it is located on Shawnee property, so I'm gonna abstain.
Okay, let the record reflect that Mr. Located is abstained from discussion and voting on this matter. It's private fireworks display at 10 p.m. October 5th. I'm almost certain that's a wedding, but they have the name insured. And all of that is good to go. So I'll entertain a motion to approve item C.
Aye.
All right, I'll make a motion. Rob, you second the motion?
Okay, I'll second.
Okay, second. Well, not any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Let the record reflect, Michael did not vote. Okay, next is the consideration to adopt resolution 555 on authorizing the eminent domain. Actually, we talked about it earlier, but now it seems we're not set to do that.
No,
Or are we?
we can. Sorry.
That's okay.
I don't have the resolution finalized for formal signature, but you can certainly make a motion to adopt the resolution with respect to the fact that
Yeah,
the three properties in question would be subject to eminent domain purposes if in fact the Delaware Water Gas Sewer Authority or I'm not sure if that's exactly.
Water. Yeah, it's.
Water Authority, so decides.
All right,
Again, I have a resolution, not in signature form, but you can make that.
well, yeah, it's the one that you sent it, we're just gonna change it to our format, so I'll entertain a motion to adopt resolution 565. Do I hear a motion?
Adopting resolution 565 to authorize Delaware Gap Road to take imminent domain action for existing water line repair.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Mr. Albert, I will second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Next, this one, I think we have it, if I'm not mistaken, correct? Consideration to adopt resolution number 566, the lot joined for Smooth Dog Enterprise LLC.
I believe they're actually here on Zoom
Oh. No.
or in person.
Okay. Wanna come on up?
My name is Bill Hopkins and I've been here many years ago. All this is right now, the Rocco's operation is on 2 lots. And the proposal for Smooth Dog is to turn the 2 lots into 1 large lot. One of the lots is 1.38 acres, the other lot is 9 acres. So we're talking about a little in excess of 10 acres on the property. I would just also say as a matter of interest, Rocco's is in the process of redoing the front facades on the buildings. Going to do timber look and also change the stone on one of the buildings, change the stone to really more of a rounded creek type of stone that we're used to seeing as Mr. Ciparone describes it. He calls it a Pocono look. And that's where we're headed with the Rocco's thing and combining the lots. Your engineer had reviewed the plans and asked for a couple of changes. I have copies of the plans with me, if anybody would like to see what was done or what we're doing. I'm sorry I don't have them mounted.
That's all good. We have copies here too.
You'd like to see a big copy?
Sure, why not?
John probably more than wants to. I've seen him. Jonathan, I had 3 comments in the first review. The comments have been eliminate the line on the plan and show the point of beginning in the deed. And that is marked on the plan.
This is one lot, this is the other one.
Yeah, this is one lot.
So we're already, the building's already on 2 lots.
Both buildings are already on 2 lots.
Okay. Is the,
Well, we bought this,
Oh, no, I'm sorry, the lot's here.
yeah, I mean, the original building was a body shop.
Mhm.
And the building next to it, at the time he bought it, was a chiropractic office and a church.
Yeah.
right. Is the common ownership part resolved?
I can- Bill, I can answer that if you like. Good evening, members of the board. I'm the attorney for the applicant. The proposal, as you can see in the application, is to first make the ownership common under the Smooth Dog Enterprises LLC. And then as a second step would be to join the lots from there.
And the sewer certifications of those satisfied or up to date?
They are up to date insofar, I would suggest making a motion contingent that you'll pass this, understanding that they've been paid, Terry put a daily break in. Just because we weren't sure what meeting this was going to be at.
John, anything? It seems,
No, we had, those, we had, I think it was 3 comments, they've been satisfactorily addressed, it's pretty straightforward.
right,
They don't have to delineate any wetlands or anything like that, and joining you don't have to, only in.
Only if they propose land development or something.
I know in subdividing you have to go, but together you don't. Okay.
that makes sense.
Because that is part of it right now, that there are different things, but part of it, the like Attorney Franklin says, that they're going to resolve the ownership problem and then do that. So you just wanted to make sure.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that you didn't have to, alright, cool. What was the provision you suggested then?
To just ensure that the sewer authority bill, this, the Smithfield Sewer Authority bill is paid in full prior to release of the resolution.
Alright, I'll entertain a motion.
Well, alright.
I'll entertain a motion to adopt resolution number 566 with provision aforementioned. Do I hear a motion?
Can you add to that provision that they are joined, so the common ownership does happen first? He says it will, but I just want to.
Well, we would have to do that, we have to,
In order to report it.
yeah, in order to record the deed.
Okay, alright.
Motion by Mr. Albert, do we hear a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Lowenheim, any question?
Why don't you ask
somebody what
time is it there,
Aye.
so we know?
Aye. Cool. You're all set, yeah?
Ask them what time is it?
I don't know what time it is there. It's an hour different from here.
We don't know if we're sometimes too.
Well, they started it.
You want your big plan back?
You may have it if you like.
You'll take it? All right, Julie will take it.
You want more?
I only need one for our record, so I'm gonna leave it out.
Now he's got it, Michael. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next is a discussion on the revised Chicago schedule plan. I understand Mr. Nick Euler is here, so welcome back to the Smithfield show.
Thank you. Nina Willer with RPRS, Allison Lennox is here with her husband, representing the Chikitis estate. We were in with a sketch plan for a conservation subdivision previously, and we got some guidance from the township. We appreciate having that early in the project. It helps us plan and understand how to proceed. Based on some of that input, we have revised the sketch plan and now revise it to be just a 3-lot subdivision under your regular subdivision ordinance requirements. There would be a 13-acre lot, which would include an existing house and the barn on the existing driveway. That would be 1 lot. There's an existing house which accesses off Hidden Valley Drive. That would be put on about a 2-acre lot, which is the normal lot size required for conventional subdivision. And a new building lot created with frontage out on Franklin Hill Road. So this would reduce the scope, but accomplishes the goals the estate would like to do, which is kind of preserve the bigger lot, subdivide the 2 separately, and then provide 1 new building lot. We had some questions with the planning commission. One of the questions being that the improvements that would be required along Franklin Hill Road, there's a requirement that says if you subdivide, you need to make road improvements. It doesn't differentiate whether you do 100 lots or 1 lot or 3 lots, or whether you have new driveways coming off the roadway or what impacts you have to the road. So we are looking at this. We can make this a common shared driveway that we were in before. The supervisors indicated their desire to make sure any common driveway would be paved. We can accommodate that, but we really have no new driveways out onto the Franklin Hill Road, and really minimal impacts to the roadway itself. So we were looking for guidance, sketch and informal with the planning commission. They said, take the application, but we heard no strong objections to relief from having to provide shoulder widening on the whole 1,000-foot of frontage that we have along Franklin Hill Road. In that the scope of the project is very good and minimal impacts to the roadway. For that discussion item, it's here if there's any strong thoughts on that. Informally, we'd like to hear that.
Hi, Rick Martin, engineer. So where is it set? So any subdivision at all, you have to improve the road?
South requires it, as you know, you can grant waivers to the south.
South we can barriers.
Right. The argument that is being put forth with the current plan is that there will be no impact as a result of the development to Franklin Hill Road. The existing driveway is already there. The 1 new proposed lot can either take access to the adjacent road, or if we would prefer not to create an access to any roads, they would be willing to bring it out and join it with the existing drive that already comes out on Franklin Hill Road.
Driveway that goes back there.
There's a driveway already there?
Yeah, this is a driveway that goes back to this house, so there would just be a short portion here that would be shared to provide access to lot 2, or they can continue to go back to lot 3.
How is lot, what do you call the bottom one?
This is lot 3 here. This is the full 13 acres. This driveway goes back to the house.
The eastern one. Yeah,
This is proposed lot 2, yes.
so lots, how, is there a building on there now?
No, there's a building on this access lot, and this is the new building lot.
So option 1 is you can access it from the side, the driveway there, yeah, there.
We could access it directly off Franklin Hill, or we could access it off an easement here and use this shared driveway. So we were just trying to minimize impacts to Franklin Hill Road.
in support of that request.
In which,
One of the arguments, or I shouldn't say arguments, one of the discussions that took place at the planning commission, one of the reasons, Franklin Mill Road, I'm sure you're all familiar with it, it is a collector road, it goes pretty much across the township. So in one sense, you want that road improved. But in the other sense, or in addition to that, you would want to minimize the amount of houses that take access to it. In providing a shoulder, one of the reasons for providing a shoulder along a roadway is to drain the stormwater off of it, have a place to push the snow in the winter when you're plowing snow. Nate has pointed out that right now there exists one or two cuts in the existing bank where water now flows off the road onto the site. We discussed at the planning commission that if the township were to agree that no improvements had to take place, that those cuts be one, formalized in terms of a drainage easement. And two, if it was determined that maybe another one would be proven, and we don't know that yet, from just speaking hypothetically, that would be granted. So that was part of the discussion of the planning commission. If the township were to waive the requirements for improvements along that side of something a little bit.
And we would offer the additional right of way that would be required for our collector road status, either reserve it or dedicated it. Request.
That orange part?
No, so that there's I think probably just an existing 16.5 foot from the center line right away.
Oh,
Existing, your ordinance would require a larger, wider right of way for collector road. We would dedicate that additional right of way if requested.
which drive are you proposing to pave?
Well, if we share, this is the driveway, this is the one driveway that goes back, it's gravel. If we do that as a shared driveway, we would offer to pave that shared portion right here.
The orange part.
Yeah, if the township felt strongly about not having a gravel drive for a shared driveway.
I would say, Mr. Chair, that in the event the township might be willing to consider what's being said here by Mr. Euler, that a formal letter or salvo waiver request be submitted to the township with any additional sketches or drawings, so that when the township acts upon this matter, it's not going to be guessing as to where this driveway is, where that access is, what's this doing, with that doing. So I think you could tentatively suggest that you would approve this if you wish, but you will not do any final decision until that additional information is submitted, unless John tells me differently, because if John believes that that's overkill, then I'll.
Well, there's more room in this area for development, and it's my concern. You can clearly see that, you know, the intent was at some point that there was going to be, you know, a connection toward Manor Drive or elsewhere around here, maybe even a loop or something. And we're seeing that there's gonna be, how many new homes now? 4?
On this plan?
Yeah.
One is
One new home, but there's gonna be 4.
Sorry?
4 in total though.
There are 2 existing and there will be 1 lot to be built. So there's going to be one new house.
Yeah.
I mean, and my personal view is, I don't think you should be. You should have to pave a shared driveway, that's my view.
And that's something that the bigger issue is the shoulder widening along Franklin Hill. That, you know, 1,000 feet of shoulder widening is yes, that's difficult impact for a project that has this limited scope.
What's the size of the acreage of the new lot?
Just under 2 acres, that was your current.
That's big.
Current zoning requirement has a standard conventional subdivision.
And you, as a result of filing this subdivision plan, assuming it is approved, you would deed restrict it against any further development. Is that my understanding?
That I haven't talked about.
I think I'd be more willing to
I
consider.
know I heard that at one meeting, maybe.
Well, then I won't commit to that, but if that's something that you would consider, we can certainly
I
discuss
think
it.
it's beneficial to pave that, that access drive there, at least for that part, because it's gonna make ingress easier. You know. I
I mean,
think
we intend to submit a complete application to the planning commission and go through the subdivision process. We're just trying to get. If you had strongly felt that this shoulder improvement were required, I mean, it's just such
I
a.
don't think any of us feel strongly about that. I think it's really more about, the interior road.
I think, yeah, there's a legitimate concern about emergency vehicles being able to access.
Right.
All three lots, that's a must. I think there's, unfortunately, there's a little bit of disagreement between us two on the paving part, but.
That's fine, we're not asking for a final decision tonight, I think we're getting direction on the main issue, which we had was about shoulder improvements, and is there something we could offer to?
And if there's deep restriction on development, that helps big time, because we know there's not gonna be a massive development that happens.
Okay.
I think, look, I'm not gonna hold it up if it's gonna be at that point, but I'd like to see that deed restriction. I'm not one to say no to more houses, but if you're not gonna be willing ever to pave that. Then I'm not gonna be willing to go forward, but
It's
if they're
actually
going
related to this driveway or something.
Yeah.
Correct. Okay. All right, well, we will.
Yeah, he wants to make sure that you don't do this and then a big thing goes there without. being
Because
paid.
like 90% of the time we have an association, they leave after, 20, 30 years of a good run, and then. Everyone that lives there hates where they live because they can't drive.
Right.
Want to avoid
I
that.
believe that.
And this will have frontage on Franklin Hill Road, so at some point that the township was agreeable to have another access out there, or, that could.
That's the thing, I don't think we want more access.
We can restrict that, whichever the preference, so.
Yeah, I don't think we want more access to, we would rather, if there is going to be a road,
We would agree with that.
yeah, okay.
Okay, any other comments?
Robert, anything?
Okay.
You're awesome.
Thank you.
Public comment, unless there's anything else from
Brett, I'll read this kind of.
Brad.
Sorry, regarding that development proposition. Was there any discussion about safety, if they're gonna use the existing driveway? And put more traffic on it from additional homes? Was there any discussion as for the safety of the location of that driveway as it enters Franklin Hill?
So you're referring to this driveway we're proposing here?
Well, not the one that's existing that you want to use.
This is the one we're talking about. This is you may be thinking about this one up here. We're proposing the one that's down in the middle of the property, which I think is, that's good site distance. We'll verify that.
All right, okay.
We understand that.
Yeah. My point was if there was gonna be a higher traffic on a particular road where it entered, but it's.
There's just really only one additional homes, like I like that concern, but if they decide to do more than that, then of course.
I remember comments about the speed of the traffic. It's already questionable.
Oh, yeah. Pretty fast over there. What else?
I have a comment.
Yes.
I would just like a little bit clarification in reference to the private roads. You gentlemen stated before that you didn't want private roads in Smithfield Township.
Correct, it's not in reference to your situation. But in the future, we don't want people to build more private roads.
This is reference to a lot of problems we've been having with the HOAs and their private roads. There's been many conversations at this forum about problems with roads in the HOAs. And one is because a private road, we have no jurisdiction around that road. In terms of safety, and so and we tend to get comments from citizens, members of this community that are upset. How come this road is not like this? How come it hasn't been fixed? And our answer is it's an HOA, it's a private road, we can't do anything about it. So my comment was really more related to sort of when HOAs, if they want to build a road to township specs and hand it over to the township. this board so far has been very open to that idea.
I hear a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Albert, I'll second, all in favor? Aye.
Bye.
It's 100, no.